Well, overnight, Russia launching its most intense drone attack on Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion more than 3 years ago. This comes ahead of President Trump's high-stakes phone call tomorrow with both Presidents Putin and Zelenskyy, where he says, quote, the subjects of the call will be stopping the bloodbath that is killing on average more than 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week, and trade. U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker joins us live from Brussels with more. Mr. Ambassador, good to see you.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So is there any progress that you can tell us about ahead of the phone call on a ceasefire or a broader peace?
Well, first of all, President Trump's been very clear that we need to end the killing and the slaughter that's happening every day in Ukraine. You know, I think President Trump's bold diplomacy is driving Russia and Ukraine towards a ceasefire. It's not happening as fast as he probably would hope, but I think it showcases his commitment to peace, to ending this war, and to America First leadership. And, you know, one of the things I tell you, Guy, is that President Trump's tough stance and using all the tools in the toolbox to hold Russia accountable while protecting American resources from an endless involvement in foreign conflicts. And so, you know, I think President Trump is enhancing Americans' global standing and also is securing all of our strategic interests, including, remember, the Ukrainian mineral resource deal that he negotiated just recently and signed.
Yes, of course. And that was one of the offers of good faith and actions of good faith that we've seen from the Ukrainian side. Have we seen corresponding decisions or olive branches at all from the Kremlin?
Well, I don't want to get into, you know, sort of the specifics of the discussions with Russia, but you can tell a lot by their actions. And I think by sending the low-level diplomat to Turkey on Thursday signaled something. And I think President Trump obviously is weighing, you know, who is doing enough for peace, because, again, he has said it, and I mentioned it earlier, he wants to end the slaughter that's happening. And so I think Russia is going to have to demonstrate that they are serious about peace. And at the same time, I think Ukraine has done a lot to demonstrate that they are interested in ending this war and ending it however it needs to be ended, to make sure that we don't lose 5,000 young men and you know, private citizens as well, like you saw with these drone attacks overnight. I think we got a serious situation, Guy, that needs to be resolved. And President Trump has brought the parties to the table, and now we need to have a deal.
Are they going to stay at the table, and will the U.S. always be at the table? Because I know the Russians occasionally have balked at both of those things.
Yeah, again, I think we're taking steps. I think while the conversation on Thursday in Turkey was not at the level that I think President Trump would have expected based on what President Putin said in suggesting that both sides get together, I think we are making steps towards ultimately getting a ceasefire, getting a peace deal, and ending this war. But at the same time, you're absolutely right in what you suggest, which is that, you know, President Putin has to show up and has to continue to make incremental steps to peace. And, you know, I think President Trump is doing a great job, you know, holding him, you know, accountable. And I think at the same time, you know, the Lindsey Graham bill that we see pending in the Senate that has broad bipartisan support to put additional sanctions on Russia, I think also is a lever that if President Trump wants to play that card, he will play that card when necessary to make sure that people keep showing up and get a peace deal done. And
of course, a lot of eyes in Brussels focused on what's happening in Ukraine. President Trump has made it clear there will be no U.S. boots on the ground in that country, but other NATO allies have offered some of their service members potentially, if a deal gets hammered out, something that a lot of people are watching closely on both sides of the Atlantic. Mr. Ambassador, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.